The At Your Insta podcast is brought to you by Comic Town. Check them out at www.comictown.net or search for Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook. Hello, and welcome to At Your Insta. My name is Morgan, and I'm here with Mike.
Hello.
And Dave.
Hey, hey.
And we have another fun-filled episode for you guys today. Lots of stuff happened over the weekend. We had our first Standard Open, which is pretty awesome, for Shadows over Innistrad Standard. So we definitely want to talk about that. A couple of community topics cropped up as well that definitely need our attention, and certainly our opinions, because that's what people come here for. So we want to share those with you as well. And then, some interesting things, going on over the weekend as well here in our local area, the Invitational. So we want to talk a little bit about that. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about some of the community stuff that happened over the weekend or this week. So first and foremost, the judge system, or at least the levels, have been kind of overhauled, where there no longer are going to be level 4 judges and level 5 judges. They're going to be changed to something like Grand Prix head judges, basically. And then there's also going to be further delineation inside the judge program as well. There are going to be more extra things that you can be necessarily that aren't necessarily like level 4 or level 5, but they are going to be things sort of like how they have right now. I think they're kind of filing under them under advanced roles, program coordinator, regional coordinator, stuff like that. So
Assistant to the regional coordinator.
Yeah. They have to do that because of the Dwight Schrutes in the judge program. I imagine there has to be people that are like that in the judge program.
Who are better at judging beats than magic.
Yeah.
See, now I'm getting confused with like the vegetable that is a beet, but also like beets, like they would be judging like a epic rap battle or something like that.
You killer tofu.
Oh, those beets.
Yo.
Does it ever make you sad that there are definitely people that you just did that and they're like, what's that?
Yeah, if you don't know who the Beats are, they're like on par with the Beatles. That's the joke.
Yes, correct.
The hits, okay? Like Killer Tofu, I Need More Allowance. I mean, like, what? Like, come on, let's go.
For those of you who don't know, we're referencing a wonderful cartoon show named called Doug.
Name called Doug.
Name called Doug. And a blue friend named Skeeter. Didn't make any sense.
The girl he loved was Patty Mayonnaise, which I could never get behind. I hate mayonnaise, and I was just like, I couldn't do it.
And what was his
Pork Chop was his dog.
Pork Chop was his dog. What was the biker guy? The greaser.
Roger Klotz.
Was green.
Yeah.
No reason. Anyway, that's what we grew up on. Why do you think we're messed up? But no, so this would have been great for us to have had to have happened when JP was on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, like, a little awkward timing there, but that's fine.
Right, huge judge overhaul. We had a judge, last week. Oops, I guess. But I think this is pretty interesting. So, like, level 2s now can make other level 2s. As Mike compared it to robots making more robots.
Yeah, robots can't make robots. That's the end game.
And something else that has happened is they've gotten rid of the rules advisor test. So if you are interested in starting into the judge program, you may have to speak with potentially a level 1 judge or something like that within your area, or a level 2 judge, and seeing how you get on that path instead of just going on there and taking the rules advisor test. But I mean, if you want to go down the path of judgehood, then it's better to do that anyway, so you can get linked up with the right people and get ready to become a judge. But I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's streamlining the whole thing, makes it really pretty simple as well.
I think you're also coming to the point where you like the amount of like level 4s and 5s and the people who are even be getting to the levels 4 and 5 were not, like, that jump wasn't happening. So you had to do something to sort of address this, because like you have more GPs and you have all the Pro Tours and you like, could you have the same people like accommodating these every single time? And as you saw, certain member, like we had Menery retire, so I think this makes a lot more sense, because it does open up, like, yeah, you still have to specialize, you still have to take more tests as an L3 to be able to run these events, but it does leave a little more room for more players to more judges, I should say, to have that capability, as opposed to just those, literally 6 or 7 people in the world.
Yeah. So I have a question here because I don't know all the ins and outs of how the current judge system works, but as I'm reading through this, I see there's a lot of maintenance requirements. Like you need to judge a certain number of events and certain levels to maintain your judge level. So I don't know if that's new, but I like that.
I don't think so. I think that's always been a thing of Some Persuasion Union, because I know that we've talked to judges that have had to judge a certain amount of events over a certain span of time to maintain their judge status.
Okay.
So I don't think that's new. I think that's something they just have to do, which makes sense.
Okay.
If you want active participants in your system, then that's how you encourage them to be active.
Yeah, I didn't know if it worked like, once you become a certain level, you just are that level. Like, does this, like, do you fall back down to, like,
Right.
the next level below if you take a year off or something?
That I don't know. I assume that if you're going to take, like, a prolonged period of time away from the game, then you'd probably want to talk to, your regional coordinator or something like that to be like, hey, this is the situation that's happening in my life. What do we do about it? So, I imagine that there has to be some sort of like recertification that you can do potentially, but that's just me imagining things and not necessarily the truth. So maybe that's something we can ask JP. Put that down in the parking lot, as they say. We'll circle back to that later.
Who says that?
Yeah, it's corporate America.
Corporate America says that.
It's
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
Parking lot.
It's
that
one of
question.
those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually feel sorry for you guys right now. I don't know if you were.
It's like me and Morgan know exactly what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Your face was just like, what?
Sorry that I don't work for corporate America. Way to work for the man, guys. Way to sell out.
Sorry. Yeah, we're big sellouts.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything. I stood strongly before.
Literally a state employee, but but it's fine.
I mean, like, whatever. Moving on. We also had a big shakeup at the head of Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah. Speaking of corporate America.
Yeah, no joke. That was a great segue. Wizards of the Coast president Greg Leeds resigns.
He also changed his name to Greg No Longer Leads.
Greg X Leeds.
I was really proud of that joke. I wanted to make it when I first saw it, but I was like, I'm saving that one for the cast.
That's good. Thank you. You've enriched this experience for all of our listeners.
Would it have been better as Greg Follows?
Well, he doesn't have a new job yet,
Yeah,
so
So he's just Greg Lives.
Probably lays down a lot.
Greg Unemployed.
Greg naps.
Greg naps. Greg relearns to play his 6-string guitar.
Greg finds himself again.
How Greg got his groove back.
Oh man, all these are great. Thank you, Greg, for your time at head of Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
I'm glad we can make fun of your name now.
Literally appreciated your name in the last 6 seconds that I did of any of your leadership during your time at Wizards of the Coast. I'm sorry if that's offensive.
Any listeners out there that want to send us any fantastic last names they could think of? Hit us up on
at
Twitter.
midnight this.
Yeah.
Any great Greg lead-ins?
All right.
Oh, man.
So, a new CEO has been appointed. A former Microsoft employee, Microsoft leader, a member of Microsoft leadership. Was he an actual CEO of Microsoft?
No.
I guess that's something that we could look into. I don't think he was either. So, but he was the gentleman is named Chris Cox, and he was a part of I know that he helped launch Windows 95 way back in the day, but he most recently served as vice president of OEM at technical sales at Microsoft. So OEM is the original equipment manufacturer. So definitely someone with a technology background, technology mindset, which I feel is someone that you would want moving into the future, where you have your competition as being Hearthstone, as being Hex, kind of,
Maybe the CEO would recognize that as
right,
competition.
hopefully, and not try to skirt the issue and kind of sweep it under the rug. But I mean, you even see things like Xbox being on his resume and stuff like that. They really emphasize that he worked with things like Halo and Fable, to emphasize his gaming background, as well as his technology background. So I hope that this gentleman will be able to leverage that in going into Wizards and being able to drive, their technological advancements in the future. And per Wizards of the Coast 2015 annual report, which is our next subject, they are developing a new platform for Magic.
New digital platform.
A new digital, yes, platform
Which
for Magic.
It's pretty exciting. We don't really know what that means yet.
Yes,
But,
very, very mysterious, obviously very vague, which makes sense. This is probably something that's in very, very early stages. And, we even saw how long the transition between version 3 and version 4 was. So, hopefully, with this new platform that they get away from, all of that. This isn't going to be a version 5. This is going to be a brand new platform that people can use. And hopefully they make it something more universal so we see this on not only Windows machines, but on, Apple computers, on tablets, on iPhones, on Android phones. If you can pull that off, and I think that's what they are hopefully trying to do and what they should want to do with this new platform, then that could be a huge boon for Magic as a whole. And really, strike out and make a stab at making Magic Online a true competitor to things like Hearthstone.
Yeah, I'm not really big into all the technology stuff, but if I could play Moto on my tablet, then it's all good.
Right. Like, if you can find a way to make that worthwhile, then why not? I hope that's something that this new CEO is going to be really pushing. Obviously, we don't want to detract from Paper Magic. I mean, Paper Magic, I feel, is like in a really good spot, and they're really firing on all cylinders with what they've been doing recently. So hopefully that this new CEO doesn't try to overshadow that and really try to push away from Paper. But I think there's enough smart people within the building that is going to be supporting him to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's just so much opportunity right now for the digital side of Magic to expand and grow. Like, I feel like, I mean, I don't think anybody's really satisfied with Magic Online right now, but I mean, hopefully they can take something from the Duels game, which has been pretty popular and pretty successful, to merge that somehow and make it just more user friendly and more stable and everything else that goes along with that.
Maybe there's a combination of these products. Maybe they do merge those products in some sort of one whole entity that can support both types of play.
That would make a ton of sense, because then you could have the person who beats Duels. Then you can encourage them to transition without forcing them to move on to a new platform. Like, oh yeah, you can't do that on your Xbox, which is fine. You probably can't play Moto on your Xbox, or obviously we have a new pro. But oh yeah, you can't play that game here. You have to go download this new thing. What if it's a natural transition? Like, okay, you've done this part. You ready to play the game for real now? And they're like, yeah, I'm ready to do that.
And we do have to reinforce that Chris Cox is becoming the CEO of Wizards of the Coast, which is a huge company.
Hasbro.
Is not Hasbro. Is a huge company. They have things like Dungeons and Dragons they have to worry about as well. So he'll be overseeing not just Magic, but hopefully he can lend a helping hand in our particular interest in bringing Magic to the new digital realm in a manner that we all enjoy. But lastly, we do have some exciting news from the movie standpoint, but not the movie you might be thinking of. There's going to be a Magic the Gathering documentary, and it is produced by the same gentlemen that have done the Walking the Plains, Nathan Holt and Sean Kornhauser. Now they teased this previously, I believe. There was a half hour or so clip that was actually shown of the documentary that was shown at the Pro Tour, I believe, or something of that nature.
Yeah, it was one of the GPs or Pro Tour or something. Yeah. So we knew this was coming down the pike. I actually didn't expect it this quick.
Yeah. But we actually have an official trailer for it that you can go on YouTube and watch right now, and it's actually going to be premiering on Netflix and YouTube on April 26th, which is pretty awesome. It's fairly awesome just to have something about Magic on Netflix, one of the most used streaming platforms that exist, as well as YouTube. I mean, YouTube is a little bit different.
Yeah, everything's on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. But Netflix to me means something that people who are really like a lot of people who are really into documentaries love Netflix because there's just tons and tons of documentaries on there. So like people who aren't necessarily into Magic are going to watch this and learn more about the game that we like. And this is going to be hitting mainstream media, and not like Crackgate, where people who aren't into Magic don't know anything about it, aren't getting exposed to that. They're getting exposed to a more positive side of the game and not just laughing at us and continuing their stereotypes they've held.
You haven't seen it yet. It could just be 2 hours of like fart jokes.
Yeah, okay, you got me there. But with
Enter the battlefield.
But with the pedigree that Nathan and Sean have put forward when they produce their content, it is some of Walking the Plains is pretty lighthearted and funny, but a lot of it tries to show a more humanizing side of the game, and you get to know people that we know as personalities, but you get a kind of a deeper idea of who they actually are. And I really feel like this will hopefully bring that to a more a wider audience, if you will.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see this. There was another documentary that was being developed years ago that never really got finished.
Mm-hmm.
I Came to Game was the name of it, and that never got released. So it was a little disappointing that happened. But obviously, Nathan and Sean have shown they do a very professional quality videos. Like I really enjoy Walking the Plains, even though I'm probably not the target audience for it. It tends to be a little bit more casual, but it's just really, really well done. So I have high hopes for this, and I think what they're going to be doing is it's going to be following 7 players. So you have Shahar Shenhar, Patrick Chapin, Chris Pakula, Melissa DeTora, and Peach Garden Oath. So Huey Jensen, Owen Turdenwald, and Reed Duke are going to be kind of the players that they follow, and they're going to be the main focus of the documentary. So I think it's sounds really exciting, and I can't wait.
Yeah. Now, if you want to watch something right away that is available as a documentary, I know Vice has actually had a short Magic video. I actually don't know how long it is.
I think it's like 20 minutes.
20 minutes, so not necessarily short. Short compared to comparative to what we're going to be getting down the pipeline, but that's also something you can check out if you want a video about Magic that gives it shines a different light on it now. But I'm very excited. I can't wait till this comes out. I'm gonna watch it on my big screen TV, which is pretty exciting. Not on the internet.
I'm just excited to have something to point my family to.
Yeah, like what do you do? Well, watch this.
Yeah, like quite literally. Like if you want to know more about it, watch this. I mean, I'll watch it first to make sure.
Yeah, and that's not just a whole bunch of fart jokes.
Well, not just that. Like I don't want it to be sort of like the old like Rice Krispies commercials. You know what I mean? Or like people think I'm doing something hard, and then like the movie makes it look like really easy. So like you're the mom who puts flour all over her face, and then was like, it took a long time to make these Rice Krispie treats.
Right. You know
exactly what commercials I'm talking about too. I always thought that mom was really selfish. It was like, so what'd you do for 2 hours? Like, like it's insinuating you had the time. I'm not saying anything else about whatever your life is, but like you had the time. Did you just like pass out? Like what did you do?
You gotta
like,
get the naps in when you can,
Yeah.
I guess.
Gotta get a nap in every once in a while.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess that's true. But it'll be nice to have be able to provide someone with hopefully a bit more digestible, compelling content to watch. Like that's what I hope this is. I hope that people will want to watch this regardless of their interest in Magic. Because you'll come to find that in documentaries a lot of the time where it's like, I have no interest in this subject, but how this is filmed, or at least I have a cursory interest in this subject, how this is put together, I find it compelling and I find it interesting. And I'm glad that I learned about that, even though it's not something I necessarily had a prime objective about. You can watch a documentary about how something is made and be like, well, I know how they make taffy. I guess I never was that's my dream to know how they make taffy, but I'll be darned if I didn't watch a whole hour of them making taffy. So
Yeah, you're definitely right. Netflix is such a good racket going on.
Yeah, oh man.
You like this? Now watch it. Man, like just like the random shows I've watched in the last 2 weeks. I like working on stuff at home. It's like this has a person you like, and I'm like, I don't know. Let's watch an episode.
Well, let's watch 2 seasons. Yeah.
I'm gonna try and convince like my dad that like it's got Tony Kornheiser in it. It's got a Kornheiser in it. Like, hey, where'd that little bald red-haired guy go? Like, where's he? Is like he's not in this? Like, oh no, wrong guy.
Sorry,
I got
he's at the
confused.
end. You gotta watch it. Yeah, he's in the. It's like after the credits roll. He's like,
Yeah, he's the post credits.
The best part is this movie has to have a post-credit scene, right? Like every walking the
Probably.
planes, right? Like this has to, right?
Probably.
All right, I hope so.
I'm very excited about it though. So, and we can see it at the end of the month. I mean, it's just great. All right. Well, that's everything for the community segment. Let's go ahead and dive into the competitive side of the show. So, over the weekend, we had some exciting events for Comic Town. We had the Comic Town Spring Classic, as well as a local PPTQ, which was at the Guard Tower, so a different store. And Mike competed in both.
I did.
I would have competed in both, but I was assisting my sister in moving, and we all know how exciting that is. So I can tell you about my weekend. It wouldn't be very good, though.
Oh man, how was sideboarding? Like when you have to put the sideboard of the bed frame together.
The sideboards weren't the problem. It was mainly the headboard because they had a king-size bed, and we're moving into a basement. So it actually like hit the top of the is terrible. There's a big mark on it. It's bad.
Did you go to time?
Yeah, we went way past time. I was there at like 10 o'clock, and we didn't leave until like 11 o'clock.
That's
So
gross.
PM, AM to PM, by the way.
Would have called your sister for slow play. Hands
Yeah,
down.
probably. I don't know, but I got pizza and beer afterwards, so whatever.
The spoils, right?
Yeah, exactly.
little
Like
victory.
my price payout was pretty healthy, I would like to say. So
Fair enough.
oh, yeah.
I guess we can talk about these events a little bit here. The Spring Classic had, these classics are awesome. Like Comic Town puts these on, and they're going to do another one here in the summer, which is going to be modern. They do their own playmats and stuff. But I gotta say, they've had the worst weather luck.
Yeah,
Like,
we literally had winter the second coming, like how Hobbits like second breakfast. We had second winter, just on that Saturday, but it was like
the north part of the state of Ohio actually got like multiple inches.
Right.
So we had a pretty good turnout. We had 32 people, but like they were hoping for more, and for the prize payout, you definitely wanted more. But people were like, it's snow. So someday the weather will shine upon this event.
if it snows in winter, if it snows in summer, then it's just doomed. Like at that point,
yeah,
in time.
it's just like it's just bad luck. It's just
Bernie was right.
yeah.
So anyways, but yeah, there were 32 people. The metagame looked like this: Eldrazi.
So this was
the classic.
standard, right?
Yes, Eldrazi.
Oh.
It was I guess it was Eldrazi Winter, if that's what you want to do, because like it literally showed up. But there were the top 8 list there, which I think we can link to in our show notes.
Yeah.
Definitely had I think 6 copies of Eldrazi decks between blue white and blue red variants. I was playing a blue white variant. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but I
played
missed
cards.
Yeah, I
There's
played
75 of them. Figure it out.
I went unfortunately 3-2. I had some I went 2-1, and then I went 2-0 and then lost the next 2 rounds to some weird matchups and a lot of flood, which is something the mid range deck does. Went 3-2, cashed that event, walked away with a playmat, and then drove across town to the PPTQ. Which I gotta take a moment here. If you're not an Ohio player, just I don't know, helm a tune for a second. But if you are an Ohio player and you didn't go to one of the awesome events offered in this state, if you're Columbus local, you could have gone to a 2K Classic or a PPTQ. I know there was a PPTQ in the north. If you're not going to these events and then you ever dare to go, I wish there were more events to play. Take your right hand, lift it up, and just hit yourself aggressively multiple times. Because the PPTQ had 10 players in the afternoon. 9 of them came from Comic Town.
Weird.
Like, what? Like, what? Like,
So why is it when I go to PPTQ that's
Yeah, it's
2
like
hours away, it has
30
like
people,
30
40 people.
Yeah.
like, I understand the weather was bad, and like some weekends don't work best for everyone. Like, I'm criticizing people, but obviously Morgan and Dave didn't go to anything, so people have their reasons. I'm criticizing you too slightly.
Everyone was just helping move their sister.
Everybody. But I would say that if you want your people complain about events in their local area, well, when you have them, you have to go and support the store.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you don't get events. It's pretty simple. Like Columbus, if you're Columbus local, this has been an awesome month, and it continues the next 2 weeks. But when there's a dry spell after that, and you're upset, remember what you could have done. I guess I don't want to come off and like lecture everybody, but I kind of do, so deal with it.
Yeah.
The PPTQ was very similar, obviously, because people came over from Comic Town. I went undefeated. Well, I conceded to a person in the event in the last round, technically, and then lost in the top 4 to a really weird homebrew. It was pretty spicy. It was like an elf flicker deck. So it was playing like all the elves and like Shaman of the Pack and Ghostly. Or not Ghostly Flicker. Eerie Interlude is the one. I was gonna say Ghostly Flicker, but that's not. That's the blue one. Eerie Interlude and Eldrazi Displacer, and Collect the Company. So you just want to swarm the board and then kill you with a lot of Shaman of the Packs. And I had real bad mana issues in both games against. I beat him in the Swiss, and then I had really bad mana issues in the top 4. Like kept a 3-land hand game 1 and didn't draw another one until I died. And then game 2, made my land drops all the way until I could awaken a planar outburst into his triple Shaman of the Pack. So it was one of those things where it's like, I could draw spells. I'm not going to draw spells. Oh, was that Shaman of the Pack too? Oh, cool. Fireball. All right, I can deal with one. All right, second one, that's kind of a third. All right, well, we're dead.
We're dead.
So it was frustrating. His deck was nifty, and then I think he ended up losing in the finals, actually, to another Eldrazi deck. So it was kind of cool seeing the different decks around this weekend. Obviously, Baltimore was a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Humans was present in our metagame, not to the percentage that it was in Baltimore. But it was fun. It was fun, just test driving standard, playing on some cards. I haven't gotten to do like the back-to-back event thing in a long time too, so it was like kind of nice to feel pretty degenerate. Just like, all right, I'm getting in my car, 20 minutes to get to this next event. Yeah, this is life. Living right now.
living on the edge. Yeah, I think that's a good summarization of the good of summarization weekend. You did some drafts as well over the weekend.
Yeah, we did some late night drafts Sunday night. Yeah, because that's the best night to do drafts.
Yeah, who cares?
And did get 3 drafts in. Had an awful day at work the next day. But
it was fun.
But
Worth it.
Slowly learning about the format. So due to the Pro Tour, I know first world problems. I get it.
Yeah.
But I can't take any more days off, so I'm not going to the Invitational this weekend. So Saturday, instead of playing the Open, I am just going to grind drafts all day and keep learning the format that way. But so far, this draft format's been really fun, and I think like really rewarding to like learn. Like compared to the dregs that was both Battle and Oath, I just hate that block. Just like as a drafting block, I hated it. I am loving everything's just value, and like here's all these enchantments to do crazy things, build around them. Here's clues. Go ahead, have them. Here's a clue. You want a clue? Get a clue.
Everyone gets a clue. You get a clue.
Yeah. Clopra.
yeah, you have Klupra.
Klupra's better. Yeah, should have gone with the U. You're right, Klupra. All hail.
All hail mighty Klupra.
Look under your draft pile. Klupra's insane. If this episode isn't called All Hail Klupra, I'm done. I'm out.
No, but so I did a couple of the drafts, and I was able to draft Avacyn, but still went 0-3, and then I drafted a sweet blue white
Flyers, Blood Skies.
Flyers deck, and it was sweet. Went 2-1.
So what was it like drafting Avacyn? Because like obviously it's a double face card, so everybody knew that you had Avacyn.
There were a lot of like rude gestures and things said his direction at the table.
Correct, and then everyone stayed out of white. So my pack one was all white cards.
Clear path. Avacyn's coming.
It was actually really nice though, because we had some guys there too who offered to call the draft. Morgan, you did one of them.
I did the second draft. It was fun.
Local player. Devin did another one for us as well, so that was awesome of him. And like a couple of people there hadn't called draft before. And man, like if you haven't gotten to do call draft, like it eliminates every problem ever with drafting because people can't do their weird wonky piles thing. They can't take forever. Got to keep moving. So
no, Mike, did you practice not looking at your deck while you were drafting?
Yeah, I'm pretty good about that though. Like
okay.
I one of my skills in this game, like if I was like identifying the things I'm good at, is I have a really good card memory. Like, I pick up draft cards really quickly. So, like, my wife hates it because she's just like, how do you know what that does? And I'm like, I don't know. I saw it once. So, I am not bad about that. The only thing I'm not great with at that is always remembering curve. I know some people are definitely better at me than, like, identifying, like, that they have to take this 2-drop over this card in this pack. That is the one thing I'm not great at. But but I'm pretty good about not looking at a pack.
I feel like that's not as bad though, because you can review in between,
review in
between packs, so you can see like, okay, yeah, I'm a little late on 3-drops, so, or whatever. So I need to pick up a few of these in the next pack. So
Sure.
By the way, I'm still mad about your Just the Wind that you did to me on Friday night. So we did it. We did an 8-man draft after F&M, and I drafted the sick red black vampires deck with 4 deadweights and like fiery temper and all kinds of stuff. Playing against Mike, he has no cards in hand. He just has the blue looter.
Yeah, Reckless Scholar.
Yeah, so he's forced into a position where he has to block with all his creatures, and they just like, all right, I guess I'll just activate this. Oh, draw Just the Wind, discard it. All right, return this, blow you out.
Now, hold on. Recognize that I was playing to that card. I'm not just
Well,
like,
yeah.
I guess I'll throw a card into my graveyard.
You did have like other cards that also would have been good in that spot, but it was just like...
I literally looked at the card and I was just like, oh, I did it. Dave just like collapsed into tilt.
I was so tilted.
He was so angry.
Well, yeah, because we were, we were doing an 8-man, and that was round 1. We got paired, and I think we probably, I don't know if we both had the 2 best decks. I guess neither of us won the draft, so I don't know if we could say that.
Finals. I will say the deck that I lost in the finals was really good.
Yeah.
So, I've learned a lot of like just playing some matches in the format. Blue black is something I've in draft I tend to go to. I like decks that have flyers and removal. But like the Madness cards are really good. Call the Bloodline as an enchantment has been disgusting. Like it overperforms every time I have it.
Yeah.
So tell the listeners at home in our match in that draft where you stole my Mad Prophet, and then you had that stupid Asylum Skeleton. So you just had Mad Prophet, Asylum Skeleton. You were just like, discard the Asylum Skeleton, return it. I'm just gonna keep drawing cards, and I couldn't just couldn't do anything.
Oh yeah,
about it.
that 1/2 skeleton, the Asylum Skeleton, also works insane with Call the Bloodline.
Correct.
As well, because you're just like, oh yeah, make a 1/1 every turn. Like there's a lot of enchantments like that in the format that feel like once you stick them, and there's a couple rares like that too, that once you stick them, like your opponent has to answer them, or you're done playing cards, and that's ridiculous because then when they do answer it, you have 7 cards in hand. So like those are cool. My favorite deck, I've gotten to play blue-green now a couple times. The enchantment that whenever you deal combat damage to a player, investigate.
Ongoing investigation.
Yes, I'm getting that one in like the U-involved investigations. Like their names flipped in my head sometimes. But yeah, so like the blue-green one, it's so good. And I got to play it with like the tracker and 2 of the 3-drop or the 2 of the 4-drops that are 3/3s. Whenever they deal combat damage, you get to clue. Got to make the sick play of sacrificing 3 clues to trigger that thing's ability to put a creature into play to flip, which was a werewolf, to then flip both of my werewolves that turn and pass the turn. Oh my god! Oh, that deck was so good. And also the 1 green instant. Again, I remember all these cards. I don't remember all the names immediately, but I have a good memory for the card. But the green instant that says investigate, then get +1/+1 to each clue you control.
Yeah, I really like that.
Card's just a fireball in that deck, just so you know.
Literally,
Literally
here first. One green fireball.
I got the +5/+5 in that draft. Like
Pretty hot.
oh
Well, yeah. I mean, it's such like obviously 1-mana tricks are the best. As long as their power level is.
it's a 1-mana
is
like
okay.
the worst case scenario. It's a 1-mana +1/+1 that also cantrips.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's +1/+1 at the worst. Like, and then sometimes, like you said, it's just +5.
Just fireball.
Depending on the deck. So
It's Confront the Unknown is
Yes.
the name of the
Yeah,
card,
that's
which I really enjoy flavorfully because the more you know, the more clues you have, the better equipped you are to
the
confront the
unknown.
unknown.
Yeah, that's it.
I like the one where you don't have any clues. You're just like, I don't know what you are. What are you? I literally know nothing about you. I'm gonna poke you and see what happens. But if you're a very good detective, like Batman, then you're fine.
I hate you. No, it's been fun to draft. I look forward to drafting it more. So maybe we should talk about a real tournament now, though.
I guess. But I want to talk about our fun drafts.
They are fun.
All right.
Don't
well,
you wish you were in our fun drafts?
I bet you do. So
What you know about fun drafts?
what you know about fun drafts? What you know about late night drafts? Nothing. So there was an actual open over the weekend. It was held in Baltimore, hosted by Star City Games, of course. A total of 624 players came out to play some new standard, and the entire thing was won by none other than Jim Davis playing Bant Collected Company. So apparently,
From the top rope.
so apparently, who cares how good or bad your mana is if you're casting instant speed reflector mages? That's all you need to be doing in this format.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, we obviously saw Band Company was one of the best decks at the end of, right before rotation.
Correct.
I think Mike could attest to that. But
Agreed.
I think most people thought that the mana was just too rough for this to work in the new standard. But obviously, it wasn't even just Jim Davis. It was, I know the Jessups played it. Kevin Jones finished 10th. And they're all playing very similar lists.
Yep, it was
So-
the third most popular day 2 deck.
Right. So, I mean, it was no fluke that this one won, and I'm sure it's something that they've been working on for a while. And really, the only thing holding it back, in my opinion, was the mana. I mean, the mana is way worse than it was prior to rotation, but apparently it's good enough.
So there's an article in Star City today detailing some of like the breakdowns of winners and losers. And I don't remember which author it was, but posited that Band Company is or might have been, it may not be today, it may have been just this week, but it's still sort of a loser in the format because like the mana base, like if you look at the mana bases of both these decks, like I tested Band Company. The deck is still super powerful, especially when you hit your land drops. But if you look at these mana bases, they are horrific. And if you draw the wrong sequence, like you're gonna have to mulligan aggressively with it, and you really have to pay attention to sequencing. If you notice, the two players that did really well with it, right, are two really, really good players on the open circuit. So these are people who have the reps in, who have worked on the sequencing, who know this deck in and out. If you're like, I literally just picked up Bant Company and qualified for a Pro Tour. Like, I want you to understand that. Like, that's how good that deck was.
Oh no, I know. I top aided a PPTQ the
Yeah.
first time. I didn't even play any games with it, and I just showed up and I was like, oh, cool.
Like I am literally telling you, like I am diminishing like my own claim to skill here and telling you that deck was nutty bonkers. This deck is still really strong, but is not like that deck. You have to work really hard for it to work the way you want it to. So I definitely think that like this deck, while it did manage to beat the humans deck, I didn't watch on camera. I was told that on camera, Jim Davis definitely like completed into a double reflector mage against the human deck. That's a really easy way to win a game.
Yeah.
Trust me, when that doesn't happen, that human deck is going to punch you in the mouth. So make sure you know how to sequence this deck.
Well, I think that happened. Like he pretty much like had the game kind of wrapped up already. Like he was able to like actually win that turn by doing
I wasn't
that.
giving context, so I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, you definitely win the game when you do that. But I do think like always watching like makes these human decks like against this deck. Those human decks are going to curve out the way this deck used to be able to. Now, if you have a draw where you can curve out too, yeah, then you're the better deck. Dramoka's command is disgusting against them, especially if they have an always watching. But if not, like you just got to be careful. So I would say put the time. Like don't. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't just assume you can pick up Bank Company and go, oh, Bank Company's the best deck. It's not like it was before.
Yeah. So let's talk about this list a little bit. Some of the new cards that it's playing. So we have 4 Duskwatch Recruiter, which is a pretty exciting card. And like I said in the Palooza, that's one of my favorite cards in the set. That's the one that it's the 2 mana 2/2 that you can pay 3 mana to look at the top 3 cards and put a creature in your hand, and then when it transforms, it makes all your creature spells cost 1 less. So it's actually a pretty nice combo. Well, it's pretty nice in this deck for a couple of reasons. So you can leave mana up, and you're okay not casting a spell on your turn to flip this because you have things like Ojutai's Command and Collected Company in your deck that you can play at instant speed. But also, it allows you to play a turn 4 Archangel Avacyn because if it's flipped over, the Avacyn's only going to cost 4 mana. So you can leave up 4 mana and represent, any number of things that your opponent has to try to play around. So, and that came up, a couple different times that I saw on camera. So, that was pretty exciting. Obviously, Avacyn, like I mentioned, is another new card that's in here. Played a couple Tireless Trackers, which was pretty impressive. I wasn't real sure what to make of that card. But again, just being able to leave mana open, this deck just has so many different things you can do. Like you can just represent so many things. It's like, okay, even if you don't have the Collected Company, you can be like, okay, well, I'm going to crack a couple clues. It's fine. I think that's it.
I do want to mention Duskwatch Recruiter again while you look through the list, because
Sure.
the other thing that card does is I said the mana base is really bad, but if you're able to play that card on turn 2 and like your opponent like just lets it flip, then like you can untap and then play like a Reflector Mage possibly, but also play a tap land,
Right.
or
Yeah.
like so like it allows you like you can play like your Nissa and then play a tap land and also go get a forest. So like it does like if it like you can't count on that, but it like I'm sure there's a number of draws, especially week 1 where you have so many decks that are sort of just like kind of finding their way where it's like, oh, okay, well this can flip, that's not big of a deal, and like it may literally allow the deck to curve out when it wasn't going to because of the mana base. So I think that card is probably very important.
Yeah.
I also like you mentioned Tyler Tracker. Tyler Tracker Suite in a deck that's going to run 4 Evolving Wilds. Because I don't know if
Yeah.
you've seen fetches with that trigger, but like any landfall trigger, it's good when it happens twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. One interesting thing about this list that we saw in the old Band Company list is this one is not running the Deathmist Raptor. I mean, it has 1 Den Protector in the deck, but 0 Deathmist Raptors anywhere, which is interesting. I mean, and obviously that's a conscious decision to do that. So
It's definitely a concession to the mana base.
yeah, that's probably true. I know that in the interview that Jim did, after he won, he definitely said that Jace was not as good in this deck. He's it's another card that kind of helps you hit your mana and like helps kind of smooth out those draws, but it's not. And I think this is kind of true across the board. Jace just isn't as powerful as it was when we had fetch lands and we were able to flip it. The turn after it came into play a lot of times. So, but still pretty potent, obviously.
Yeah, the most powerful interaction that Jace has was hitting collect a company on turn 4, hit a Jace, untap, flip Jace, flashback, collect the company.
Yeah.
And you're far less likely to do that in this version because you're just not putting a lot of things in the graveyard like you were. So, just taking away that avenue, I could totally understand why Jace isn't as powerful.
Right. I feel like we keep saying like reasons why this deck isn't as good, but the
Still
fact,
won the open.
The fact of the matter, yeah, it won the open, and really all of the decks aren't as good. I mean, some of the decks don't even exist anymore that we saw prior to rotation, but especially week 1, I mean, a lot of the lists aren't as tuned as you might expect, or definitely not going to be as tuned as we're going to see, I'm sure, in a couple weeks.
Is Invocation of Saint Traft, is that a typo or is that really?
No, that's actually what it is. Yeah, and so sideboard 2 Invocation of Saint Traft. I don't know what that's for.
Probably ramp, because you are creating a creature that is a giant flyer, and within a time frame where that could not be good. I think Jim Davis did say that they were not very good, so you might want to reconsider that card going forward. But typically, flyers has been a good way to attack green red ramp. Now it is important to note that it's not like green red ramp had a really good weekend anyway.
No, it was pretty bad. I believe the top finisher for ramp was 20th, and there really weren't a whole lot of them. If you look at the top 64. One last thing on this list I just want to point out is the 2 clip wings in the sideboard, which I think pretty much every green deck that I saw on camera had at least a couple of these in the sideboard. And seems pretty good when white is, I think, clearly the best color in Standard, and almost every white deck is running some number of Avacens in it as well. But yeah, I mean, I expect this list to evolve over time. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think it's a good starting point, and definitely features a lot of powerful cards.
And certainly, like based on this, outside of Esper Dragons, which we'll talk about, and like one copy of Jund in the top 32, like it's really the only 3-color deck that really put up a strong showing to illustrate it was still there. A lot there are a couple other 3 colors, and if you consider like white black Eldrazi 3-color, which I don't think it is comparable. I think the colorless splash for those decks is a lot easier than anything else.
Yeah, very much so, more manageable.
I think it's interesting that the mana is so bad, and yet Band Company is still strong enough to spite it. It's like powering through, and he was like, I don't care about these port towns.
Yeah,
I'm getting in.
I mean, and when you say like white black Eldrazi, like those decks still have tri-lands. Like,
yeah, that's true.
They just legitimately have tri-lands.
Yeah.
So the mana is so much better.
Untapped tri-lands.
Yeah, untapped tri-lands. So make them, comparatively, it's a lot easier to, play that colorless source. Um, so the runner-up was Kellen Pastore, or just Pastore, I don't know. Playing mono white humans. Now, humans in general, whether it was mono white, white blue, or white green, was very, very prominent at the Open. And sort of the breakout deck, I don't know. I feel like you probably were expecting some amount of this deck to show up.
I think if you tested at all in this format, you were able to quickly decide that Red Black Vampires wasn't going to be the aggro deck. Mono Red wasn't going to be the aggro deck. Humans was going to be.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all pretty much knew that humans was clearly the best tribe. If you had to look at all the tribal synergies to come out of Shadows over Innistrad, humans just had by far the best, just most. I feel like constructed playable. Like it was most synergistic, powerful, cheap cards that kind of slot right in. And when we already had some really powerful existing humans that are out there, Knight of the White Orchid has proven to be just it's really coming into its own. I mean, we did see some play.
It's
Before.
really enjoying like a resurgence, you
Yeah,
know. Not
it
every card,
is.
not every card gets a second tour. You know what I mean? Like,
It is. I mean, that sounds funny, but I mean that's exactly what it is. But
now I think if you go back and even listen to like the last few Paloozas we've done, we've mentioned a couple times how there's like in each set there's been like one or two like white cards that are like, man, like this feels under cost, or this feels really like Archangel Tides, man, this is really powerful, but the mana is really rough. Gideon, man, this is a 1-drop planeswalker, this should be good. We kept saying if the white weenie deck exists, these cards will see play. And finally, like Shadow's like, all right, my children,
Be free.
go forth.
and like finally you found a deck worth mashing them all together. And when you take all these individually strong cards and put them in a synergistic shell, they better be good. Like
Yeah.
I think this is like when people assess a format. This is the exact like the antithesis to the vampires deck, where the vampires is pure synergy. You have to use the synergy to make average cards a little bit more powerful. Right, some of that's really exciting. A 3/2 flyer on turn 2, or attacking on turn 3, where you get to put something else into play, sounds awesome. But when the card isn't there, then everything else is average. It doesn't matter what 1-drop or 2-drop you're playing in this deck; they're all doing the same thing. So the synergy comes from the fact that they're all interchangeable. It's like playing Burn, as
Yeah.
opposed to playing like like I would almost like say like an Atarka Red, you know what I mean? Because like Atarka Red, when it was a known quantity, suffered from the fact that it's like, okay, well, if you don't have the namesake card, you've got a bunch of goblins. I can beat a bunch of goblins. You know what I mean? That's the same thing the Vampires deck is. But this deck is like, no, I'm just attacking with all of this. Every card does the same thing. Answer it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned synergy. I mean, this doesn't necessarily need the synergy. I mean, you can go
It has
turn
it.
turn
Doesn't
one.
need it.
Yeah, you can go turn 1 Kithian, turn 2, Dragon Hunter, Thraben Inspector, turn 3 always watching, attack with all of them, flip my Gideon. Like, okay, let's go. Yeah, this was I hadn't really tested before the set was released, and I saw a versus video on Start City where Tom Ross was playing, a white humans based deck, and I could see like how powerful the synergies were. I'm like, you know what, that's where I'm going to start. That's I'm going to build that deck. I played it at F&M. I didn't have like a tuned list or anything like that. I just put it together and was very basic. And just playing it at F&M, I was just like, wow, this is really, really good. And this is probably something I'm going to continue to play going forward. Now I was playing the blue-white version, not mono-white. But this list that finished second is a lot more aggressive than a lot of lists that were out there. This one is not playing Archangel of Tides at all, which is, I think, a staple in most of the lists that we've seen. And this thing just not completely maxes out on 1-drops, but it's playing almost 20 or something like that.
Yeah, some ridiculous amount for sure.
Yeah. Another really interesting card that this deck was playing was Griff's Boon, which I don't think anybody thought was even a limited playable card, much less making a splash and constructed. But it does make sense. I mean, really, other than Avacyn, there really aren't any other flyers that I could think of that see a lot of play. I mean, we saw like some Ojatais, I guess. And
Yeah.
Like Archangel of Tithes and some of the the white decks, but it's not like the format's overrun with ways to block, ways to block flyers. So, Griff Spoon was definitely an interesting one. I think it's a little low on the power level, but it does give you a way to kind of punch through those last points of damage at the end. Because White Weenie historically has no reach whatsoever, so you're just kind of jamming all your guys and hoping that gets there.
Right. Having the availability to bring it back is very, very, beneficial for the card as a whole.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that obviously is what pushes it over as being, like, playable,
Right. But I really enjoy... I generally don't enjoy White Weenie as a deck just because it's so straightforward. Like, you really don't have a lot of play to it. You just kind of throw all your guys out there and hope it's good enough. But these humans lists do have they have things to do if it does get to the mid to late game. I mean, you have Thraben Inspector that gives you clues. You have Town Gossip Monger in a lot of these lists that can transform and give you mana sink. If you do get a little bit flooded. So
West Vale Abbey.
Yeah, West Vale Abbey.
That is the one that they all also had.
Yeah. I played a couple of those at FNM. I never actually activated it, not even to make a creature. But I know in testing, like there were a couple games where just the threat of it changed the game itself. Like the threat of being able to flip it into Ormondal.
Oh yeah, people like play the removal differently than they would when they see that card. They board differently. Like I think just having that card in your deck warps a match enough if your opponent sees it that it's worth. A lot of them are only playing one copy. A couple of them had a second copy in the board. But
it's basically a free roll. I mean, especially if you're playing a monocolored, you're like, okay, I can throw one or two of these in there, and it's really not going to hurt me. And the upside is real. So, but yeah, going forward, I'm not really sure if mono white humans is the way to go, or if the blue splash for Reflector Mage is better. I'm going to go with the blue splash personally, but
I mean, the green splash was also really popular. So the blue splash definitely gets you Reflector Mage. It gets you possibly Ojutai out of the board, which if you've not attacked with an Ojutai, will also have always watching him play. Dave, how's it feel?
Oh, it feels real good.
Yeah, it feels really good. I don't even know this, but Ojutai only loses hexproof when it's tapped, and always watching says no.
Always watching it was like, well, what if you never tapped?
Like, what if Ojutai was always watching? He's like, wait, what do you mean always? And I'm like,
always.
He don't sleep.
He's like Batman vigilant on top, because like he's on top of his own thing. Just like, does Ojutai ever go to sleep? No, he's always watching.
No need for the bat signal. He's just always there.
You also get access to like Dispel or Negate if you want, and some of the lists opted for that, which is a really good way. Like especially like Negate right now, or even Invasive Surgery is another option because it counters
counters your languish,
your Tragic Arrogances, your Planar Outbursts,
Radiant Flames.
Yeah,
these are all cards that are really good against the White Weenie deck. So having a 1-mana counterspell. It's pretty nice.
While it's unlikely the White Weenie deck would hit Delirium, if it did, like deciding like, okay, all your languishes are gone, some opponents may actually go, oh, I can't win. That's weird. But like the green splash may actually be the better one for the mirror, because Dramoka's command is a way to make sure that like I'm going to kill this guy and I'm going to get rid of your always watching, and the board is now mine. And I think that's really important. A couple of them weren't playing that in the main because Declaration Stone is just too good. But if you want to one up the mirror, like if you're afraid of like opposing Avacins or Ojutais, green gives you clip wings, like we already mentioned.
That's a huge a benefit to having green being your splash color.
Like the 8th place list is one I'll mention. Dwayne Graham, Dwayne the Cracker Graham, or Graham the Cracker. There's a joke there for a wrestler that's awesome. Sorry, Dwayne. But he has Evolutionary Leap in the sideboard, which, the control decks were definitely not good this weekend, outside of one, and that's not really Todd Anderson's deck's not a control deck. At least not in the traditional sense.
It's about as control as you can get, I think, in this format.
Well, Esper Dragon's top 16. But Ulvenwald Mysteries also seems really hot in here, because whenever a non-token creature dies, or you control dies, investigate. And then whenever you sacrifice a clue, you get a human soldier token, which is, that's a lot of value. I don't know which one you should be playing, and it does seem like he could make a decision, because if you notice, it's got the classic 2/2/2/2 sideboard.
Yeah.
But there are some cool things here.
So I will say, I don't know if he just didn't draw his sideboard cards because he played against. Let me go back here. He played against the third place finisher Eric Heimel, playing White Black Eldrazi twice. Yeah, so he played him in the Swiss near I don't know if it was the last round or was I don't know. He played him in the Swiss. He also played him in the top 8, and he lost both matches. And I don't know if that's really. I mean, maybe that's not the match that you want those cards. Maybe like more of like the white black mid range is more something where you would want, or maybe they have more removal. But I don't know. But I think you're right. I mean, I think the green splash does give you an advantage in the mirror.
And honestly, with it being known in the format, maybe that's not what you're looking for, because if the rest of the format's going to be hostile against it, I tend to agree with you, Dave. Reflector Mages, I think, where I'd want to be over it. But if you decided I want to play humans and I want to beat humans, I think the green splash is the way to do it.
And that might be a good place to be for this weekend, since I expect. I mean, humans was already the most played deck on day 2.
Yeah. Comparatively, when you're looking at it, all the different variations, I think it's like 32 made day 2.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I think that's kind of the level 0 deck. Like I said, it didn't take a lot for me to be able to see the power of it. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of people came to that same conclusion. So it'll be interesting to see how the format reacts. I mean, I expect a lot more languishes and radiant flames in people's sideboards this week. So I will prepare accordingly. Do you want to talk about that white black Eldrazi deck?
Yeah, I pulled that up. Eric Heimel.
Yeah. So
good.
So he played it, and now I don't know if he was on the same list. I know Brad Nelson, Tom Ross, Michael Majors all played similar versions. Black White Eldrazi was kind of the deck that they all chose to play. That the Roanoke crew, I guess. And I guess it's a little surprising not to see Reality Smasher in this list, but it is playing Thought Not Seer, of course, and Eldrazi Displacer, which I think are probably the two biggest payoffs for playing Eldrazi, I would say. I mean, Reality Smasher is pretty good too, but this deck has 4 Archangel Levison, so you can only have so many 5-drops.
Yeah, this deck is interesting to me. I wonder what the numbers will look like going forward, because like this deck also suffers from the which is now I don't know. I have to go look at Nelson's version, but like this also seems to suffer from if we're looking at Heimel's 2-2-2-2 syndrome. It just seems weird to me. Like Archangel Avacyn, like in testing, it's great. The card is disgusting, but like with this deck, if you look at it, like it's not really built around like what happens when it flips. And the thing I saw a ton of just in like local events this weekend were people just like punting into Avacyns or punting with their Avacyns over and over again, because people forget that it's going to flip on making an attack, so they didn't attack for enough, and then their board dies, or like somebody just kills a guy and they're like, okay, and it's like your Avacyn flips, and it's like, oh right, all right, Hedron Crawler, Displacer, Knight of the White Orc, and Matter Shaper, Eiley, you all die. Oh, Gideon tokens. Now, You can have a Gideon emblem, maybe that stops it. You can flicker it with your Displacer if you don't want it to. These are options, but it definitely, like, man, you got to be really careful with this. Like, 4 Avacyns, just jam them in. Like, not every deck actually wants that.
Yeah, so a couple things on that, and I'm glad you brought that up. I noticed that there were a ton, almost all of the humans decks that I saw were playing some number of Avacyns, at least on the sideboard, and it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Like you said, it's just like actually just kills your whole board if something else dies. That being said, a lot of the removal that we're seeing is exile effects. There were a ton of Declaration Stones, a lot of Stasis Snares, Silk Wraps, Anguished Endmaking. These all exile, so that's not going to trigger Avacyn. And a lot of the games where the deck that was playing a lot of smaller creatures, the Avacyn just never flipped. It was just basically Flash Sarah Angel, kill your guy in combat and then go from there.
Just attack with the Angel for the rest of the game?
Yeah, and like it was surprising to me that a lot of the games went that way, but when you look at the removal that's being played, there's no red deck right now. I mean, this is Mono Red Eldrazi, which isn't really your traditional red deck, but there are no destroy effects being played.
So, and you're not wrong. I will say though, like a number of the cards that have been identified to be better this weekend include Ultimate Price, Grasp of Darkness, and as you saw, like we'll get to Todd Anderson's X here soon too. Like Fiery Impulse and Lightning Axe and Fiery Temper are all also in the format. It doesn't take very much for those cards to be good again. So I'm intrigued to see because like Avacyn is so powerful but does so many things. Nobody, and I mean nobody, I don't care who you are, is playing with it optimally yet. Like jamming 4 in every deck is not the right answer, but like.
Well, week one though.
Week one, it might
week
have
one,
been.
you just jam the most powerful cards.
Absolutely.
It works out,
so I'm
apparently.
interested to see where it goes in the format because I'm not suggesting in any way that Avacyn's not going to be like obscenely played. She certainly is, but I do wonder like as people get more reps in, as they start to understand what Avacyn does, like how tricky that gets. Like I've I've tested a couple of Displacer lists. Like I've been blowing people out left and right who are like trying to flip their Avacyns, and you don't let them. Like they play to flip their Avacyn, and you're like, okay, flicker it, and then like, oh, it's like no, you just lose. Like you just lose because you can't pay attention to what's going on the board. So like a lot of, and if you top 8 of this event, like I'm not sitting here saying like, Eric, you're just wrong. You know, like that's not what I'm saying. But I am suggesting like when you go to pick up one of these decks for this huge event like this weekend, make sure you know what you're doing with it. Like, well, it just plays 4 Archangels. Like, have you cast one yet? Have you paid attention how this triggers? Do you know when it does? I can't tell you how many people I saw just this weekend who were like, all right, I'll flip my Avacyn. And it was like, no, not yet. Oh. You know what I mean? And they had put damage on creatures expecting, like, other creatures to die. Like, oh, I attacked into your 4-drop because I want my Avacyn to die, or to flip. But it's like, it will, but it's not going to kill that 4/4. Like, it's not going to happen. And it's like, oh. Like, sorry, buddy. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So just, I don't know. PSA. The more you know. Play optimally with Avacyn.
But going back to this White Black Eldrazi list, I do think it looks pretty solid. I mean, you get to play a nice removal suite, Declaration in Stone, Anguish Unmaking, Ultimate Price. You get to play Sorin, Grim Nemesis, which was pretty impressive. I mean, I think white black is in a good place here, whether you choose to play Eldrazi or if you go to a more kind of normal mid-rangey route.
Right. Blake Conti played a white black mid range list in the top 8, so we can take a look at his list. Which is still technically playing Eldrazi because he has 2 Wasteland Strangler in his main deck.
The Strangler.
He's still
on the run,
still at large, it seems. But his deck has definitely shifted more towards a control role in most matchups. We definitely see like a lot of spells. We have main deck Transgress the Minds, and I think this deck is one of those decks. I think like people on Reddit have like compared this list to a Splinter Twin deck in some facets because they are playing Secure the Wastes. So you are, the turn X, Secure the Waste, then after that, flip Westville Abbey and try to win that way. And that is a angle to this deck for sure.
Yeah.
But you also have, a pretty good backup cast, even, going up to Linvala, the Preserver, seeing some play. And then, we see Archangel Avacyn, Eiley, and Knight of the White Orchid kind of shoring up the rest of the creature suite. But this one, we see even like main deck, Languish showing up, and then a bunch of removal spells.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you could always do the Secure the Waste into Westvale Abbey, or you could just go with the old combo of Secure the Waste into Gideon.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a nice...
just fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Good, clean Magic.
These are all good cards on their own.
Nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with that.
The Secure the Waste, I don't think it's in a very good place right now though. Like the chances of you just like getting somebody right now, like when people are so attuned to this, is like, and then it's like, oh well, I need to secure here, and then like your opponent's like, okay, well, I hope you have the combo piece to it, because if not, I'm just gonna cast Declaration in Stone, and I'm gonna wash them all away.
Right. And especially going into the invitational, I think a lot of people are going to be more prepared if they can be for instant speed spells because of Collected Company. So I expect to see a lot more dispels, a lot more negates. Going into the actual tournament from decks that can play blue. You wouldn't even looking at this deck. You may even want to look into, playing something as drastic as like a Virulent Plague, or Hallowed Moonlight coming back into play again. We see this deck is playing one as a sideboard card, and a few of the other lists that we've looked at also have had Hallowed Moonlight show up as a sideboard card. But if Collected Company is still good, and you plan to play against it, then Hallowed Moonlight's a good answer, and so it's pretty good against Secure the Waste as well.
Yeah. I mean, you thought Hallowed Moonlight was done after Rally rotated out, but
No,
apparently it's still good value.
apparently.
So, do you want to talk about, because we've kind of talked about the archetypes in the top 8, except for we've been dancing around Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, we should probably take a look at the goggles. They do nothing deck.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr.
So,
Anderson.
with his, like-
You've chosen an interesting one.
Was
here.
it this 57th top 8?
Yeah,
No, it's more like 29th or something stupid like that.
Give credit where it's due here. People sort of give Brad Nelson the sort of like, oh, he's good at like identifying a format and innovating here. But go back and pay attention to these huge like shifting opens. You know what I mean? Like the first open on a weekend where a ton of new sets, a ton of sets have exited and a new set has entered. Like I'm thinking all the way back to the original Innistrad block, right? When Avacyn Restored came in and Miracles was a thing. Who was sitting there on day one crushing people? Todd Anderson with Miracles. Like that guy, the guy can pick up a deck in a new format and like push it. Now this deck is spicy as I'll get out. And having played against him personally a number of times in the beta, the guy's a madman. Like the deck just goes from, like literally like it goes from like unwinnable positions to winnable, like to just winning, and it goes from winning positions to stone dead, and it's. I would be terrified to actually try to operate this list because I know that I would like draw 4 cards and I'd be like super tilted and like 3 of them are lands. I'd just be like, oh, okay, cool. I treasure cruise into 3 lands again. All right, that's cool. But this deck does a lot of really sweet things and gets to play with a lot of sweet cards too.
Yeah, I mean, Pyromancer's Goggles being one of them. I mean, if you don't know what that old chestnut does, it's add a red to your mana pool. When that mana is spent to cast a red instant or sorcery, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. Well, it's pretty good when you're copying like a Lightning Axe, Fiery Temper, especially Fall of the Titans. Yeah, it's pretty good to copy your Fireball.
He had a pretty sweet Fall of the Titans on camera. Basically a forked Fall of the Titans for 5 or something like that.
Cool.
It was like, all right, yeah,
Very
kill
effective.
these 2 guys, but you're actually just dead because
Take that.
Yeah. It's also pretty good at like doubling a Kozilek's return.
it's actually very bad at doubling a.
Oh no, it's not red. That's right. It's devoid.
Yeah.
I always forget that. It does cost red, but
That was
is
awesome,
colorless. Sorry. I want that to work. I want
I
that
know,
to be a thing.
yeah, it feels like it should work. It's
But it doesn't.
stupid devoid.
Stupid
It
devoid.
just doesn't make any
Tricking
sense.
me,
Yeah.
making me not be smart. I hate it. I hate it a lot.
I think that the thing I love the most about this deck, other than Jorian Ruin Diver, which is kind of one of my pet cards, is the 4 Drownyard Temples. So it's playing, just 2 colors, so you can afford to play some colorless lands. And there's so many ways to kind of get value off of that, whether it's discarding it to Jace, Magmatic Insight, Lightning Axe. There's so many ways that you can pitch this and then just get it back. And you can actually just, ramp up to a turn 4 Goggles.
That's the crazy thing is you
Yeah.
definitely do that easily.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think it's not crazy to think that you can do that. Like that's probably a very common line. But yeah, I mean, this deck does. It seems it was on camera a number of times. It seemed very reliant on getting thing in the ice going, and if it couldn't get that going, then it could draw a lot of cards, but a lot of the cards just don't really do anything, or just draw more cards. It's like it feels like it has a lot of air in it, and like
It definitely does.
that being said, if you do get Pyromancer's Goggles going, like it's just disgusting. It can do. I think it's like you said, Mike. It can do like really disgusting things, but it could also just fizzle out. Pretty
It's
easily.
so weird how many states like I saw this deck go. Now, granted, I played against versions on the beta, so he's released like 3 or 4 different versions of his list already in the last 2 weeks. So I don't want to test like that. I played against this exact thing, but yeah, it was the weirdest thing where the deck would just like have board presence and he'd have a ton of cards in hand, and then you'd kill the board presence, and then the cards in hand were all nothing.
Yeah, like
right? And then you're like, oh, or he draw one card for turn, have nothing going on, and then you're like, wait, you have 7 cards in hand and I'm dead. How did this happen? Like, what happened?
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
Goggles. Goggles leads to those draws.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like even when you did have Goggles, I mean, there were multiple times where like he would use Goggles to cast like a magmatic insight. So like, okay, discard a land, draw 4 cards, and then it would just be like nothing.
Yeah.
Like, just okay, I drew like 2 lands and anticipate and like a fiery temper or something. Like it's just I don't know. But definitely a really cool deck, and I don't know. I mean, it might be pretty good. It looks like it did. It looks like it would take a lot of practice to be very good at this deck.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the things that I think it's like undersold here because people look at the humans decks and just be like, "Oh, I'll just play this." It's like, but some of the decks that did really well, you look at the names, like look at the pilots and look at you definitely were rewarded week 1 for doing your due diligence in the format and knowing it. Is this deck probably that great against a really aggressive humans draw? No, and if you saw in the top 4, it definitely was not.
No.
So it may not be the best choice, but if you are a person who loved the prowess deck from last format, the one that Dave and I were on for a little bit, and it was really sweet. This does seem like this is the progression for you. I know you don't have Swiss Spear anymore, but you can play Thing in the Ice, so have fun.
Yeah, well, it's not really the same though. It's not like that deck was trying to be aggressive, and this one like really is not at all.
Well, I'm saying like if you want to, because like that deck, you just drew a bunch of cards, and sometimes
Yeah,
you did the sweet thing, and sometimes you did the die thing.
Okay, yeah, in that sense, then yeah.
Yeah, the die thing is definitely the less sweet thing, for sure.
It depends. You can go out in a blaze of glory. I don't know if you know that, but it's possible.
I guess.
But yeah, I mean, this is definitely a really cool deck, and I don't know. I'd probably try it out. I don't know how good it is going forward. Now that it's like kind of a known thing that's out there.
To be fair, I think it's been known. Again, he's written about it very publicly for the last 2 weeks. So,
That's true. I mean, not everybody
but I think it's
reads
also
the
telling,
articles, but now that the list is out there and it did well, and
I can't help but think it's a little bit telling though that he's been out there for multiple weeks. He did all this time testing it. Like Jerry Thompson talked about it. A couple other people talked about it. But he's really the only one of that group who sleeved it up. Now he was rewarded for it. Don't get me wrong, but it does say something when a large group of other players of high caliber go, you know what? Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah, sometimes you got to read between the lines a little bit. But yeah, so I mean that's I think all the decks we're going to talk about in the top 8. Now there were some sweet ones outside of the top 8.
Yeah, certainly some archetypes that we wanted to bring up, talk about, discuss. I think the first one that we're kind of going to dive in here is to Ollie Antrazi's list, 15th place.
Yeah, I believe he was playing. So I believe this is the same list that Shaheen Sarani was playing.
Correct.
And he's been kind of writing about on Star City as well.
This is Esper Dragons.
Yes, of course.
So 15th is pretty good for like a week 1 control deck. Usually they are not very well suited for the metagame week 1. They're very good at identifying what the metagame is going to be and picking on it and kind of tailoring their deck towards that. But we see Ollie Antrazi make good results again. Another person that's a name. Another person that's very good on the scene. So take the results with a grain of salt. But this is someone trying to make a 3-color mana base work. Now, they do get to play, more lands in general, which, may benefit them. We see this list playing 27, also playing 4 Evolving Wilds and a bunch of dual lands. But we see, Dragonlord Ojutai, Dragonlord Silumgar, Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, of course, and then
The standard creatures.
yeah, exactly, a bunch of cool spells. Only from what we're seeing, only 2 Languish in the main deck, which is more than most any main deck would have. Unless you were white black, slanting more towards a control route. But we see Foul Tongue Invocation.
Come to my fell tongue. You're invited.
Anguish Unmaking. Silumgar Scorn, which, man, that card is when it's really good, it's really good. I'm sure you walked a lot of people into that, and because.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially with all these white decks that are just like tapping out to play creatures, or
you're gonna
always
play your
watching.
card regardless. Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
We do see this list also playing 4 Painful Truths, which is a lot of pain.
Yeah, probably was very painful against these
Yeah, they're
aggressive humans decks.
They were on the pain train.
How many times can you go like, all right, cast Painful Truths. Oh, I need to cast a removal spell. Oh, I have Anguish Unmaking. Oh,
Oh, okay.
like
Yeah.
that sequence just feels like. How do you spell it? Oh, DED.
Dead. Yeah, it's very weird to see. Like, you do have two Ojutai's commands to maybe gain some of that life back, as well as Foul Tongue Invocation. So you do have sources of life gain within the deck, but you're looking to take a lot of damage from what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I think there's some like. I think a list like this will stick around. The combination of Ojutai and Silumgar Scorn is still going to be like too good, even this format. But this deck seems rough for that first week. I think there's some ways you could take this deck. I know Shaheen has mentioned a couple times that he really likes. Oh shit! I'm going to lose the name of the card. The blue-black 1/1 with Death Touch Eldrazi.
Oh, that card.
Yeah.
Oh, the 2-mana
Yeah,
that draws cards thing?
Yeah, that one, yes. And that card to me seems kind of sweet in the humans metagame because you can play it on 2, you can trade with something, then you can cast Ojai's command in combat, gain 4 life, bring it back, block something, it dies. So, like, he was trying that card out before when the format really wasn't attacking the way he wanted it to. Now the format's attacking the way into that card that you want it to. So I think that could be kind of sweet. Do you remember the name of it?
Fathom Feeder.
Yeah,
Fathom Feeder.
So I think there's ways you could play it that way.
Yeah.
But
you also do have a Sorin, by the way, to gain some life as well.
your 6-drop. I get it.
Yeah.
Now, Foul Tongue Invocation is definitely the go-to for that.
Yeah.
But
Now, another card that I think a lot of people have kind of pointed out as being potentially good is Slowcar's Command. It's another way to kill Planeswalker, and they've proven themselves to be pretty powerful in this format.
for sure.
So that might be a card that you could look at in putting into your lists, whether it be main or side. But the card's expensive, but you definitely get a lot of mileage out of what you're paying for.
For sure. The board here also looks like it was set up for a format that turned out a little bit differently. Like the 4 Pitiless Hordes, I don't know if those ever became relevant. Like I guess against Ramp, maybe that obviously that could be sweet. But
again, just an early clock. A lot of the times can do those deck lists in, but again, we've talked about top 8 and now we're hit the 15th. We haven't talked about Ramp. It's going to be a while before we talk about Ramp.
Don't think we're going to talk about Ramp.
Ramp did not put up numbers, and then based on what was playing, what was played, Ramp doesn't seem very good. You don't have the right sweeper, right? You have a 2 damage sweeper, which is not actually powerful enough to kill.
Which is really sad because that card is ridiculously powerful.
But the first half, like the first time you play it,
you're right.
You can't kill anything.
You're absolutely right.
That's the problem. You need to have like a Slag Storm, Anger the Gods. Like you need to have that 3 damage that you don't have to like warp your mana base to get to by playing Radiant Flames, which just isn't worth it in this format.
Can we talk about Green White Tokens next?
Yeah, this was Chris Anderson's list, showing up at 18th place. This is it's kind of a mix between like the green black tokens lists that were kind of popping up, but I think it's a little bit cleaner. It has a little bit more of a better game game plan for the backup plan. But basically, this list is kind of a bunch of stuff that creatures that enter the battlefield and gain value, or produce value when they die in Hangerback Walker, which you have Elvish Visionary, Scion Summoner, and Thraben Inspector. Really powerful planeswalkers when you're casting tokens or a lot of creatures, which are Gideon and Nissa. And then your spells are going to be 4 Secure the Wastes, 4 Oath of Nissa, and 4 Declaration of Stone. And your payoff card in this list is West of Abbey. So that's probably, I would say, that's probably a game that's your main game plan.
Yeah,
4 of them.
Four Abbeys.
Yeah. And again, West of Abbey is like one of those cards. It's not legendary.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, it's not legendary. It doesn't actually like punish you for playing up to 4. Like if you already have a flipped Abbey, guess what? You're not going like you already have the Prince in play. You're just gonna have lands that produce more creatures or tap for spells. And then I know that Chris Anderson actually wrote a article about this, and he definitely said that like Oath of Nissa was like one of the linchpins in the deck because it allowed you to cast your planeswalkers when you didn't have correct mana, because he said that even though he's only playing 2 colors, the mana base is pretty stretched.
Yeah, if you look at it, it's 7/7/4/4 Forest Plains Vista, give Vista Fortified Village. So like, it's as split down the middle as you can get. Now it could be better if you didn't have obviously the 4 colorless lands. But it makes sense.
Right.
Now I think he lost a winning into Todd Anderson actually. Was pretty upset about it. But the deck is kind of sweet. I like in the board there's a Dragon Lord Jamoka, which man, if you are playing in an Archangel Avacyn format, Jamoka is the king. Like Avacyn's like, I'm here to wreck your day, and
the
Jamoka's,
queen, but all right.
Man, I keep forgetting that. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
It's very hard to tell from the art of the cards. Let's be fair.
But I'm usually good about these pronouns. But like, I just like Jamoka, who's like, whoa. I was here first, and I'm a lot bigger than you.
I'm a dragon. I don't know if you've noticed.
Oh, you wanted to flash into my turn? No.
How about nah?
No, you're actually just not going to do that. That's unfortunate for you.
That's unfortunate for you. It's still like I really do love Dragonborn Dromoka. It's definitely one of the biggest like swingiest cards I think that we have in the format. But man, it just sucks that it dies so easily. It's so unfortunate.
Does it die so easily?
I mean, Declaration of Stone.
Declarations.
Yeah. Okay. Outside of that,
Yeah, outside of the
But
most
like every deck plays that.
yeah the most popular removal spell currently in the format. Outside of that. But no,
Also a 6-drop against aggro decks.
yeah, it's
but it has lifelink.
it's awkward. But you're right in that Archangel Avacyn has to wait her turn, as it were, if she isn't already on the battlefield. But I kind of like this deck. In all honesty, I mean it's certainly interesting to kind of see. You certainly don't want people to like start playing Virulent Plagues or anything like that. Hangerback Walker, of course, is also an awkward spot. I feel in the metagame, a lot of Declaration of Stones, a lot of Reflector Mages. It's certainly a card that you find yourself not ticking up as much. I feel most of the time, like you kind of play it and you just hack with it, and then maybe if you can get like an uptick, then it's fine. But it's something that you're not depending. Like if you're playing the card, you shouldn't be depending on the actual tokens it produces.
For sure. I wouldn't be surprised to see the next version of this list have leaps in the main, just to make that a little bit better.
Yeah. But I mean, like it's good to see like people figuring out a way to take advantage of Nissa, voice of Zendikar still. That kind of the Planeswalker kind of saw its light of day at the tail end of Oath of the Gatewatch of that format, and hopefully it can still be good in this format.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I mean, I got to play with that card, and I was pleasantly surprised at how
Yeah,
powerful
it was kind of absurd.
Yeah.
Can we talk about one more list here? Because I don't. We spend a lot of time on standard, and a lot of you'll see a lot of humans lists and some other lists we've seen. But
It's a new format, man. This is the most exciting time.
33rd place,
33rd place.
Esper Demonic Pact by Charles League.
It wasn't Riley Curran. Did he not go to this tournament?
It was not.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm just gonna read down the spells. Okay, there's only 3 creatures. It's 3 Wasteland Stranglers. There's only 1 Planeswalker. It's a Sorin. Okay, the rest 31 spells. Ready? 2 Dead Pact.
Oh, jeez.
4 Demonic Pact. Or sorry, 2 Dead Weight. 4 Demonic Pact. 3 Silk Wrap. 1 Sinister Concoction. 3 Starfield of Nyx. Yes, that card is still tournament legal. 4 Stasis Snare. 2 Anguish and Making. 1 Disperse. 3 Silumgar's Command. 3 Oath of Jace. 2 Angelic Purge. 3 Languish. This deck is hot.
Oh man, you know what? One of the modes of Silumgar's Command is return target permanent to its owner's hand. Oh, it's weird.
You know what Angelic Purge says?
Yeah.
Sacrifice a permanent
Yeah,
as
this
this cost.
Oh man. So this deck was sweet. So I want to, and not to pick on Ruben a little bit here, but if you are friends with Ruben, who's been a guest on the show here before,
Ruben Bresler,
yes, one of the co-hosts of the Magic Mike's podcast. He was playing in this tournament and was keeping up. He always does a little tournament report, and he tilted out really hard day 2 because he's like, I don't know what I just lost to. It was like Starfield and Nyx, and I don't know what was happening. And I was like, what is this deck? And then this list showed up, and I was like, oh, this is what you lost to. Man, this deck is sweet. Like, it's a Demonic Pact deck that, like, managed to make Starfield and Nyx still playable. It has, like, some really good ways, like Anguish and Making just a good removal spell. Get rid of, the pack, so you're not running into this, I have to play forward disperse issues. Have you ever been attacked by an Oath of Jace? like you haven't lived. because you're being attacked by an
Oh,
oath of
the
Jace.
Jace.
You're not being
correct.
attacked by Jace. It's
His
Jace's oath somehow.
I promise to attack you. Why, oath of Jace? Why? Promise something else.
Man, how much of a slap of the face is like getting attacked with a stasis snare that has exiled one of your creatures? Like, it's like, oh, it wasn't enough that you killed one of my best threats. You're also attacking me for 3. Cool, real cool.
I think also one of the other cool things is like with Starfield and Nyx, like you can make your pact a creature and attack with it, and like they can quite literally take 4, or they can block it and let it die, and then your Starfield's like, oh, upkeep, bring it back to the battlefield. So it's I don't really, I'm not gonna try to attest the actual competitive level of this deck. I will say that you walked into the first open of the season and made a top, you missed top 32 by a place with one of the. There's a lot of sweet decks in this. This is the sweetest deck in the top 64. It's not close.
Did you talk about the sideboard?
I hadn't gotten there yet.
Playing the sweet Blood Curse Knight.
As long as you control an enchantment, Blood Curse Knight gets +1/+1. It has lifelink. Oh,
It only
I think
costs
it's pretty.
3.
I think it's pretty easy to do in this deck.
It is consistently a 4/3 with lifelink. Hey, humans,
Yeah, no joke.
attack into me. Let's do this. Yeah, I think this deck is like, I don't know. It's sweet. I don't know. This is perfect. I want this to stick around. Like, I'm gonna be sad when Demonic Pact leaves the format, because how many times has a Demonic Pact brew like just been like, man, this deck is sweet. Like so many different versions of the deck. So I don't know. I'm really happy with
It's
this.
just always it's been one of the cards where it's like, man, I want you to get there, Demonic Pact. I want you to see your day in glory. I want you to have someone figure you out, play you to success. I kind of want to see you lose the game with it, though.
Yeah, that too.
I kind of want to see that happen. No offense to you.
Man, look at these virulent plagues in the sideboard. Like,
Yeah.
you don't get tokens? Attack you for 3. Oh, these aren't tokens. They're just enchantments from Wasp who have grown legs.
They've become, non-ethereal and pack a punch. It turns out,
and they're angry. Yeah.
they're very angry.
No, it would be really awkward if you had like 3 stasis snares on the battlefield and they were attacking, and then your opponent declarations your stasis snares.
They don't even come back. Oh man. Oh man.
You get some sweet clues though. This may also be the only heavy white based deck that isn't playing Declaration of Stone.
Nah, man.
Right.
Stasis Snare.
I mean, you need enchantments, bro.
You need it. You can't just,
Oh my god, I didn't even think about this. So Stasis Snare, when you have a Starfield in play, can target Demonic Pact.
Yeah.
Man, he's got all the
This
angles
deck is
covered.
insane. Oh man,
figured it.
Thank you, Charles League. Thank you. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we're proud of you, and we want you to do great things in this world. You already have, but
You already have.
Just keep going.
Would you say he's in a league of his own?
Probably.
Okay.
I'm sure that joke's been made at his.
Is that like an all women's baseball league?
No, it's all enchantments.
All Enchantment Baseball League? The ELB, if you will. Enchantment League Baseball.
I thought they got rid of that league.
No.
Didn't they only have that during the war?
It's pretty much. It's pretty much.
Was the Mishra's War? On artifacts? All the artifacts were off in war?
All the wizards are off like at war. Like, oh, we need enchantments. They said the tickets would never sell with just enchantments playing ball. Well, we showed them.
It's gotten pretty popular in Theros, though.
Welcome to the Starfield.
Oh man.
That joke was right there. I just took it. I just reached out and
no,
took
it
it.
was very good. It was super solid. Oh man. Auramancers in the outfield.
Oh my god. Oh.
That's good. Thank you. Even he's the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh my
Thank you.
God.
Thank you, Mr. League. All right. Oh man. Anything else from the open that we'd like to talk about?
No, let's move to modern.
All right, fair enough. So, Daryl Ayers won the Modern Classic with Prismatic Omen Scapeshift, which Sorry, we might have.
I was wrong.
Womp womp. And he defeated Jund, piloted by Adonis Medarano, I want to say. But yeah, I mean, pretty interesting to see Scapeshift kind of show up here and do some good work. Do we have any of the new cards here? I don't think we do. I don't think anything made it into his list here.
There's a new card.
Huh?
There's a new card.
There is a new card.
3 Ancestral Vision in the sideboard.
Oh,
It's a new one to Modern.
Gotcha.
It might as well have been
No.
the Shadows of
No.
Innistrad.
Fair enough. So yes, there are 3 sideboard Ancestral Visions showing up in his sideboard. A newly unbanned card, obviously showing up here. The second place Jund list, kind of looks like what you'd figure Jund would look like about these days. In all honesty, nothing too groundbreaking. We do see Goblin Dark Duo show up as a one of, and I think you would probably continue seeing that in the format to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a lot of juicy targets for it to flash back. So all these blue players have their Snapcaster mages. Like Jund just wants a little bit, just wants a little taste.
Yeah, sure.
But we have rounding out the top 8. We have Infect, Green Red Aggro, piloted by Patrick Older. Infect was Dennis Weinbrecht. Merfolk, piloted by Joshua Everly. Infect again, piloted by Adam St. Clair. Scapeshift again, piloted by Nick Heiler. And then Absent Company, piloted by Kazu Negri. Green Red Aggro, Mike, you might be familiar with. This is the sweet Burning Tree Emissary deck that you've piloted on and off again for a hot second, playing Reckless Bushwhacker.
Yeah, I saw that. It also has vines in the main too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this looks kind of spicy. I mean, like that deck always has the ability to have some hot draws, and targets command people out. I like it.
Yeah.
I can't play it anymore. It makes my stomach turn too often when I play 5th land drop. But it's a sweet deck.
Oh yeah, I always kind of like looking at this list and being like, man, this deck's pretty sweet. But it's just because it has like Dominant Raid in the sideboard, and I miss playing that card. Card was so good, standard. Can't get enough of it. But yeah, kind of seeing with the lack of the Eldrazi Menace, these super fast aggro lists, kind of being successful.
These fair aggro lists.
Sure. I mean, yeah, the fair ones.
It's like, this doesn't have any 2-mana lands in it, as far as I know.
True. It's still probably trying to kill you pretty early on, though, to be fair. So we also see Merfolk, which is not something that we've seen a whole lot of. I guess we haven't seen a whole lot of most any other modern deck. But
it's like, wow, look at all these new decks. Oh, wait.
Oh, they're just all the same decks that just got hated out.
Yeah.
But this is, nothing special here.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything crazy going on in really any of these lists.
Probably not. It's good to see that Absent Company definitely still is a deck post-rotation. In fact, it really didn't go anywhere anyway. A couple of Grixis control lists that did show up.
Yeah, the Grixis lists were actually, a lot of them featured Thing in the Ice, at least a couple of them.
Yeah.
Which, I guess this is the shell that you would want it in. Like, I would rather play Thing in the Ice in a Grixis control, versus like a Grixis Delver or something like that. I think, like, being able to block is more important for this style of deck. Just because it's a little bit slower. But this is another deck that's making good use of Ancestral Vision, and I mean, I think as Modern kind of goes forward from this point, I think you're going to see more people brewing with the Thopter Sword combo. I mean, we did see some people play it in this tournament, which we'll get to, but I do think Grixis has a lot of tools to fight against that. Mm-hmm. Main deck Kolaghan's Command, being able to play even just Graveyard Hate in the sideboard, something like Leyline of the Void if they wanted to. I think it's set up really nice. The problem is that they're typically pretty bad against Burn, which tends to be not always the best deck, but a pretty popular deck.
Yeah,
in Modern.
people will play it.
Yes.
Now we do see a person who might be trying to get your eyes on their deck. Daryl, Feltner? Sure, Feltner, playing Blue White Tron.
Yeah, I was pretty excited to see that pop up here. I'm not a huge fan of the list,
Fair enough.
but it's definitely a place to start.
You're allowed to be critical. It's fine.
I don't know. There's a lot of things going on here. Like there's an Ulamog and an Emrakul, and two Thought Nut Seers and the Mindslaver and the Thopter Gifts package, or the Thop There's a lot of win conditions, but you have to get to the win conditions.
Right.
So I definitely feel like you see all that effect in the top 8, and this. I feel like this list has really no chance in that scenario. But beyond that, this deck is close to where I want to be. The core is still there. Thirst for Knowledge is great in this deck. I've already sleeved up my own version of it. He also cut down to 24th land. Daryl, you're a madman. Hey, I'm glad you're top 16. Put it back on the map. Good job. But you're a madman. That's what
The expedition map, as it were.
Shut up. But this is sweet, though. You can start to see the shell here where they can sort of just stick in. If you haven't played against this deck, and I love this deck because the gifts piles are really challenging as a player, but also for opponents. Well,
Yeah,
now,
having played against your deck multiple, I hate it. You play gifts, and you're just like, no matter what I pick, I'm wrong, so it doesn't matter.
Well, now when you look at the way this deck is set up, depending on how your draw goes, because in the original version of it, your combo element was much more straightforward. Are you doing unburial rights right now? If not, then you're going for value. And later in the game, I didn't play. Some people played the Mindslaver version. Other people played what I did was just the Emrakul version, where you were just essentially going infinite. This version though, say they already drew the Thopter Foundry, or say they already drew blank. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a pile that has the third Tron piece. It also has a piece of the gifts combo, or of the sword combo. It's also got the Mindslaver in it. It also has a creature that you can't deal with in it. I don't know what's in your hand. What in the world do I give you? And I think it does let you be it gets so much harder for your opponent when there's so many things going on. We're just can I go back and make it so gifts doesn't resolve? Because this is impossible.
I made a mistake, and I shouldn't have let that happen. But I mean, you add to the complexities. You're playing things like Academy Ruins, and you're playing things like Crucible, which add further complexities to I don't know how. I just don't win. I'm done.
Yeah,
good game.
No, this version and the way these are built, I'm going to be playing Thopter Sword in my version of it. It does get weaker to things like Rest in Peace, where in the past I felt like Rest in Peace was you could almost trick your opponent into boarding the Rest in Peace and you just wouldn't care. This version's much more susceptible to it. So you are trading off by having so many unique scenarios. You are trading off. You also do lose. If you look at this list, you wouldn't look at this and think consistency. You know what I mean?
So, Mike, let me ask you this: what do you think about the 3 Urza's Mines and 3 Urza's Power Plants?
That I think is correct.
Really?
Yeah. So I was an advocate heavily of the 444 in the older versions, and you can go I've read many a forum post. Let me just say, when you care about a list as much as I do, and I know Dave does because he's currently shuffling. I want everyone listening to know actually that Dave has been sitting here goldfishing Delver.
Yeah.
The deck that we all agreed was bad, and he said, and we told him we did not believe him that he would not be sleeving it up again. Here he is.
To be fair,
We all know better.
I played Jeskai Control at Monday Night Modern. Did not like it.
Great. Doesn't make that deck.
I don't
good.
have enough time to test another deck, so
I got Tron in my bag.
This is where we are.
It's here for you.
I haven't played that deck in years.
Well, that deck hasn't been good in years.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Years is not true. I just had to throw something out there.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward when we're saying don't play the deck, but it did definitely get top 16, top 32, top 32. I should
The deck's
say.
always playable. It's funny listening to Dave decide that it's not good enough, and then it's immediately good enough.
So here's the thing. I thought other decks would get better against it because of Ancestral Vision, but this deck can play Ancestral Vision.
Okay, moving on. So back to your original question. So I think the reason it's right though is because the deck was never about having to hit Tron with the velocity that the other Tron decks were. You just hit it when you get to it. Well, now because you have another combo that doesn't even require that much mana, it's hilarious when you have Tron mana. but you don't need to draw it that often. You're also making room for colorless lands in Ghost Quarter and Academy Ruins. I had cut down to the 3-3 just so I could play do Ghost Quarter because I was going to try and play the deck in a Tron meta, like red green Tron meta. I was really worried about that too much. Hilarious! Like that deck is still seeing play. It will still see play, but
Yeah.
Ollie Andrazi definitely declared it dead today in his article. Like actually declared it dead. I was like, I like you. I like this.
Get the word out. Yeah, yeah.
But I
Sing
think,
it from the rooftops.
But I think it's correct in the sense that like you are now trying to do so many different things that like if you hit it, you hit it. If not, it's fine. And the mana base illustrates that point. You want 4 towers because when you do have it, towers will let you cast your Eldrazi spells. But that's where you're at.
All right. I want to talk about the sweetest list.
All right. What is it?
All right. 19th place. It's listed as Blue White Foundry by Fred Edelkamp. It's definitely an Open the Vaults combo deck. And this one is sweet. So it plays 40 spells. Most of them
That's a lot of spells.
enchantments.
That's a lot of spells.
Most of them I guess not enchantments, but most of them artifacts, 1 enchantment. So this is a deck that plays 4 Sword of the Meek and 4 Thopter Foundry, so it's a Thopter Sword deck. But it can also it can actually go infinite with if you mix in Croclair and Ironworks in there, so that lets you get infinite life, infinite Thopters.
Cool.
And then if you mix in Gerper Aether Grid, which it's also playing, you can deal infinite damage by tapping your infinite Thopters. So, I I don't know how. I guess it should be pretty consistent since you're playing 4 of each of the combo piece. But I don't know. I mean, it's a super sweet deck. It looks like it dies hard to Stony Silence, but
It looks like it. No,
it
it
looks
does.
like that's probably why it's playing 4 Erase in the sideboard. But yeah, I mean this list is pretty insane.
He's playing 3 Hercules recall on the sideboard too. I feel like that card feels really awkward. Like,
What?
all right, well, I gotta be able to be Affinity. Bounce all to our hands. I'm gonna do my thing on my turn.
But it targets a player, so it doesn't
Oh,
have to
I'm
bounce
sorry.
around.
I thought it was all.
No,
No,
My apologies.
target player. Yeah,
I take it back.
if they have a leyline.
I'm just so used to all these effects being like unilateral now because things can't be unfair that I forget that like cards like Kirkus Recall are like, no, I'm only messing with you.
Yeah.
I specifically have a problem with your artifacts. Mine are fine.
Yeah. There have been decks throughout Magic's history that have actively wanted to recall themselves, mostly like with 0-mana artifacts and storm spells and things like that, but that's not what's going on here, really. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is going to be like a thing going forward, but like Open the Vaults, I remember, I mean, that was like kind of a sweet like tier 2 deck when it was in standard, but it was never like a bit, a big deal. But I don't know. Maybe this is going to be a big player in the new modern format. I don't know.
I mean, certainly another option for this deck. I disagree with that being the sweetest deck in this top 32, though.
I don't know, man. Open the Vaults.
Have you looked at White Red Angels in 30th place?
White Red Angels, huh? I don't know that I actually saw that one, so maybe this can be better. I don't know. What do we got here?
4 Baneslayer
jeez.
Angel, 4 Guardian Seraph, 1 Sunblast Angel, 1 Gisela Blade of Gold Knight, 2 Linvala, 4 Blood Moon, 4 Lane Eye of Sanctity, 2 Celestial Flare, 3 Dawn Charm, 3 Faith Shield, 1 Riot Control, 3 Sudden Shock, 2 Day of Judgment, 2 Wrath of God.
What? What? Why?
This is an Angel Pillow Fort deck.
You know what's hilarious?
What?
Angel
So-
feathers.
I had to look up Guardian Seraph because I didn't know what that card did. So the text on that, it's 2 white for a 3/4 flyer. If a source an opponent controls would deal damage to you, prevent 1 of that damage. It's pretty funny against the army of Thopter tokens.
It's hilarious.
I don't want to play against this deck in the Invitational, guys.
I don't think you'll have to worry about that. But yeah, I don't know.
So Guardian Seraph with like Gisela is also pretty Like spicy, right?
So
Like
Gisela says
source of deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent half of that damage rounded down. So like, oh, prevent one and then round and then half that and then I don't know. I don't know.
So it can't like cheat these cards into play, right? It's just playing them
No,
straight
no.
up.
That's why I thought like I don't. There's no reason to be tribal other than the fact that these things all happen to be angels.
It's not even playing the angel land.
There's one Cavern of Souls.
Oh, wasn't there a land that's like whenever an angel enters the battlefield, you like gain a life? Or
Yes,
something like that?
it was a common from Avacyn Restored.
Yeah.
But I don't under like this deck is really. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Like I don't want to be like negative about a deck that like did well and this feels like someone like took their kitchen table deck that they love and then just randomly dream crushed with it. Just like like I part of me hopes it's a troll. Like and that's really mean of me, but part of me hopes it's a troll because this is the perfect deck to be like I'm beating you with my angel deck.
I mean, like you can't discount the fact that this deck is also just playing like raw power cards, like for Blood Moon. Blood Moon is just a powerful card in the modern format. Linvala, Keeper of Secrets, just a powerful card in the format.
Silence.
Keeper of Silence, yeah. Linvala, Keeper of Silence.
You said secrets.
Oh, Silence, Secrets.
Secret. She's got a secret.
Keeper of Silence. Plague Wraths is surprisingly pretty good. I mean, people play to that all the time.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong. I've spoken to the Testament to Wrath. It's just so many of the things here just like they seem like they obviously don't really go together very well. But I will say it's kind of hilarious. Like you could, if you have Fateful Hour, you could play Faith Shield. Wait, no, that's not the one, right? Because it's all protection, right? Excuse me. I thought that was the one that gave indestructibility. Nope, that's not the
Faith
right
Shield.
one. It's protection.
Yeah.
What's the one where they get indestructible?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
That's
I don't got nothing.
a Johnny's something. Right. Gives it +1/+1 indestructible with Strive. Is that what you're thinking of?
No, there's one of these. There's a Fateful Hour card that gives indestructible. I don't remember what it is.
I don't know.
It's fine.
Anyway, I don't know if this is the sweetest one. It's probably the funniest deck.
It is full.
I did not expect to see Riot Control.
I mean, whatever, man.
You want new cards in Modern, buddy?
There you go.
Yeah.
That is a card that is new to the format. Almost guaranteed.
Not been played until now. Well, Red White Angels. I've seen everything now.
Yeah, we've seen it all.
I do want to mention that like Green Tron did show up in 23rd place. It is a little bit interesting. Comparatively to what has been played before, we do see Sanctum of Ugin kind of take over the Eye of Ugin slot. So he lost his eye, but he gained his pad, his sweet bachelor pad.
It's like an eye for a house, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
like,
I mean, that's
not
a pretty
an eye
good
for an
exchange
eye.
rate, but whatever.
An eye for an eye.
But I mean, the deck is a little bit different than what you would expect to see. So if you are interested in still pursuing the archetype, there is a list that did perform. So maybe give it a gander, take a look at it.
If you wanted to see a new card, you ready? 21st place.
Let's do it. Naya Company, powered by Max Perlmutter, and let's see.
Find it.
Sigarda, Host of Herons in the sideboard. Nope,
That's
that's
the
the
old
other
one. Find
Sigarda.
it.
Arlen Cord.
There it
That's
is.
What it is. Apparently, they were trying to make Miss Cord work here in the modern format. She didn't have a hot time in Standard at all whatsoever. So
Humans run her over.
yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Making a 2/2 in turn 4 turns out not very good. But I don't.
Interesting here, only because people are playing Dominated. There's Dominated in the top.
Yeah, like I
Dominated gets Abrupticate.
I guess that's true.
So I've talked before about how 4-mana Planeswalkers in this format. Granted, Lightning Bolt is an obvious issue for her, but the flip side of her is interesting because like if you're attacking into like Goyfs, well, all of your Goyfs now win. Like by default, they are now bigger. So and then Trample for the whole team was pretty good. I don't know if she's good enough. Obviously, it's only one of this. This may literally have just been a fun of he wanted to try.
Yeah.
But there you go.
That's my guess. And if you wanted like Goyfs to win, you could just play like Sarkhan Vol. Right. The original Sarkhan.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. I was trying to remember. I'm like, there's a lot of Sarkins now, actually.
Yeah, yeah. No, the green red Sarkin from Shards of Alara. Anyway, all right. So this is one last list I want to point out here.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised we haven't talked about this yet. So Jerry T played in this tournament and finished 26th with a blue white Thopter deck, and this was basically a blue white control deck that ran Gifts Ungiven and had Unburial Rights Elish Norn in the main. Was not playing Iona in the main deck. He had that in sideboard, so he's pretty focused on just basically getting Elish Norn out there, which a lot of times is good enough. But he's also able to. It looks like his main win condition is Thopter Foundry, Sword of the Meek. So he's able to gifts for that if he really needs it. And he's also playing 3 Muddle the Mixture, which if you don't remember what that card is, it was a card from the original Ravnica. It's a 2 blue instant, counter target instant or sorcery spell, but it also has Transmute. So you're able to transmute and find either part of the combo. So, yeah, I mean, this deck is playing a lot of card draw. I mean, you get 4 Thirst for Knowledge in this. No Ancestral Vision was a little surprising to me, but I think Thirst is just better in this type of deck. I mean, you're able to draw the cards immediately, and discarding an artifact isn't a big deal with the amount of random talismans and extra swords and things like that he has. So, 26th isn't the best, but I mean, I think I feel like people will see this, they'll see the name Jerry Thompson associated with it, and people will try to make it work. So, I mean, I feel like this is something that I expect to see more of, or at least some version of this. I mean, this is probably the first run of this deck, but I think there are a lot of ways to play this style of deck. And I think in general, like, I expect Thopter Sword to be, I mean, obviously this is week 1 Modern with Thopter Sword combo available, and I think you're going to see a lot more people trying different shells for that. I would expect to see Esper, Grixis versions of it, Jeskai versions. So we'll see where it goes from here. But this is, I mean, just because Thopter Sword didn't do great in this tournament, I wouldn't sleep on it. So if you plan on playing an Invitational, I would have a plan against that. So that's all.
Cool. Sweet deck. I like it. I like everything this deck does, except for the fact that it may not win very often.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it almost looks like it's trying to like do the same thing that Blue White Tron is doing, but it doesn't have the mana advantage. It can't just like raw power, Ugin into play and win that way. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is like a better way to go than Blue White Tron playing Thopter Sword.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I think that's everything over the weekend there, competitive wise, that we really want to talk about. I don't think we're gonna have a special segment of the week. We're already running, about our regular run time, so we'll probably go end it here, just kind of move into the wrap up. But we do have a pretty exciting tournament over the weekend. We have the Invitational, which I'm queued for, and Dave is queued for, and Mike is queued for it, but can unfortunately not attend. But that's okay.
Woo!
So we'll be there for the tournament start on Friday. It's going to be standard and modern, and it'll run through Sunday. And then there's also going to be an open on Saturday, and then it's going to be standard, and then there's going to be modern and legacy classics on Sunday. Now, over the weekend, there's also going to be some GPs that happen. So there's going to be GP Albuquerque, GP Barcelona, and GP Beijing. I don't know why I said it like that. And the live coverage is actually going to be from GP Barcelona, which makes sense since, they're going to be in Spain.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the pros are already, heading out to Spain, obviously, for the Pro Tour. So it makes sense that they would have the live coverage there.
Exactly.
I actually like GP Albuquerque's kind of in a weird spot because it's kind of like going the opposite way,
right,
for a lot of people. So
I mean, not to mention GP Albuquerque sold out as well.
Really? Oh, what was the cap on that?
I don't know what the cap was, but I know that they hit it. So congrats to them. Now, we do have the Invitational, and then the week after, we have the Pro Tour. So that's pretty exciting for Mike, obviously, heading over there to compete in his first ever Pro Tour. Congrats again.
Thank you.
But for those of us not eligible to compete in this Pro Tour, Star City Games States is actually going to be happening that weekend. It's going to be April 23rd and 24th. Ohio's is going to be hosted by Comic Town. It'll be Saturday Standard and Sunday Modern. So if you want to find out more about those events, please check out their pages on Facebook, and you can find the links to the events by searching for Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook.
Not gonna lie, I know this is a giant, first world problem, but I'm really sad I can't go defend my title.
Oh, I'm so sorry for
Like,
you.
Yeah,
really-
humble brags.
Sorry,
guys, I'll be in Spain, but wish I was there to get another medal.
man, when you say it like that, you make me sound pretty great. Keep talking like that.
Okay, whatever.
Am I
Sorry.
not allowed to be a little bit sad that I can't do that? Like, I don't mean it like wistfully. I'm not going to be like, well, I could have gone and done that.
You're not
My
going to
life
be.
would have been changed.
You're not going to be competing in the Pro Tour, being like, man, I wish I was at States.
If I'm 0 and 5, like dead for day 2, and then I would be like, I wish I was in the United States.
You might be able to make it back in time if you change your flight. You know? I mean, the
Come
Pro
back
Tour starts
in
on
time.
Friday.
Well, the
Like,
cool thing is going to Spain is like time travel, because like you go like they're like 6 hours
going
ahead.
back a little bit.
So
yeah.
like when you fly back over here, you just like it's like it only took like 4 hours. It's actually insane. Internally, from what I'm told, because I've not experienced jet lag before, your body tries to kill itself. So I'm looking forward to that.
This is true. Yeah.
Well, that should be interesting. But that's pretty much everything for this week. So if you want, you can definitely check out our Twitter. We are at @SymbolYourEndStep. If you want to follow us, give us some feedback. We also have a email address. It's just @YourEndStep@gmail.com. We also have a website, @YourEndStep.com. Definitely want to check that out. And you can also check us out on Facebook. You just do a simple search for Your Step, and we pop up. You can come like the page, leave us a comment, send us a message, what have you. Also, while you're on Facebook, definitely take a look at Comic Town again, Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook. Just give them a quick search; they'll come right up. And if you want, you could definitely leave us a review on iTunes as well, if that's how you prefer to listen to us. We also are part of the MTG Cast Network. You can go there and check out all the great Magic the Gathering podcasts that they have available. Such a huge array, depending on whatever you are into. They have it there. I know that there are some subjects that we don't cover or don't cover very well. So if you want to get that experience, definitely search out some other podcasts on there. I think let's see, Mike's been on Monday Night Magic. Monday Night Magic, not Friday Night Magic. Monday Night Magic is a great one if you really want a nice long form podcast where they talk about pretty much anything under the sun, which is great for, I know, a lot of people that drive a lot for work or something like that. But they have a lot of other shows on there, so definitely check out what they have. But I think it's going to be everything for us this week. We'll catch you guys next time. You have a great one. Bye.
You gotta believe.